Hey everybody, Scott Carson here again, and we are smoking with Scott on this Saturday. Hopefully you've had a great week so far. Hopefully you enjoyed the last recipe we did. Really excited about that. That turned out really, really good. Today we're going to smoke another favorite of mine, and I think many people love it as well. It's pork belly, you know? Now some people don't know, this is where bacon comes from, okay? Now you can buy this in a store like this. You can buy it sliced up a little bit. Nice cut of pork loin. I actually got this at Sam because it's pretty affordable. But this cut of meat's only about 19 bucks. So you can cook it a variety of ways. You can cook, ends like you would brisket. You can cook this kind of like a brisket. There's a variety of ways. You can actually slice it up and make bacon sliders a little bit. I like the pork loin, not the pork loin, sorry, the pork butt out of it, but I cook it kind of like a brisket. It's about 3 hours, 4 hours long. It's about an hour and a half per pound. This is just under 5 pounds. Actually, 4.65 pounds for 20 bucks. It's a pretty good buy. Now it's gonna shrink up a little bit. One of the things when you're looking at pork belly, yes, this is the actual belly of the beast right here. Okay, so I've already taken that thing. I've already wiped it off once because you want to get a little extra moisture off of it. But when you're looking at a pork belly, you want to look at the ends there. Okay, make sure you got a good chunk of meat. You can see the meat veins going through that a little bit on this side too. When you get these bigger pieces of pork belly, one side may be thicker, so it'll cut differently. So you may need to actually cut it up into 2 or 3 different pieces. Now this one, we're gonna leave it just like this. We're not gonna do anything else besides really prep it and then throw it in the smoker just like it is. Okay. So if you break things apart, some people will brine a pork belly. I don't, for the most part. You can. The thing about pork belly, when you look at this skin here, it's a little thicker aspect. Now, this is all flavor. When you're going to smoke it on a pellet grill like I am, you're going to smoke it with the belly up. But you have to kind of do something to help permeate this fat, the skin here a little bit. So what I like to do is a little bit different than most people do. Some people will, like aerate it a little bit. They'll poke it with their knife or fork. I do a little different thing on this. Before I go and start seasoning it, what I'll do is I'll start cutting that grooves in it a little bit. I'll go all the way down. I'll try to go down to the meat. Okay, I'll just go down to where the actual meat is at. What am I doing? Well, what I want to do when I smoke it is to have a little bit easier way getting in to the flavor of the meat. Okay, right there. Not too much. I mean, you'll get a nice bark on it still. It's a little easier to do. But my favorite thing when I'm eating pork belly is to make pork belly BLT tacos. They're the best thing, and BLT stands for bacon, lettuce, tomato. Doesn't matter the bread you put it on. Homemade tortillas are great. Egg, cheese, pizza, flatbread thing. I'm making tortillas later with that. We'll do that there. But I'm just going to cut these grooves in here so that it helps me. Bacon, okay? And it's actually proven this is actually healthier than turkey bacon, okay? All our non-beef eating people, meat eating people just had a conniption fit. But you can start seeing here, I cut down through the fat. Okay? And part of that is for later on. I didn't cut all the way to the meat. I just cut grooves here so that when I put our binder on it, and our binder that we're going to use is probably no surprise. Is going to be good old French's yellow mustard. We're going to squirt that all over the side of it, okay? And then I've got my seasoning, as I call it the stuff. Step one, let me call it the but I call it the stuff. It's a pretty easy recipe. I don't know if you can squeeze in on that recipe. It's basically a cup of garlic salt, a cup of black powder, and a cup of onion powder, and a half cup of chili powder, half cup of ground thyme, and then a half cup to 3/4 cup of paprika. So basically 6 ingredients that I buy in bulk, and then I just pour it into a measuring cup, throw it in here, shake it up, get my little, shake weight exercise here on a Saturday. You can add more paprika if you like it. You can add more chili powder. You can add, garlic flakes to it, but this is a pretty good base that works on all of my meats. It's not too spicy. It's got a little kick to it, but not overpowering. Like, I know some people are going to throw a lot of black pepper on this, and that's fine because it'll offset the fat. Nothing wrong with it. But I like a good bark. I like a little flavor bark, not overly powerfully with overpowering the black pepper with some seasoning. The things too, as we're cooking this periodically, once we throw it in the grill, we'll let it sit for the first hour, hour and a half, and then we'll go in and spritz it. Yes, a spritzer. We'll spritz it with a combination of good old-fashioned bourbon. I like a good peach bourbon. This is Live Oak Brewery. It's a really decent peach bourbon, actually. Very, very tasty. Not expensive at all. And the reason I'm not going to put like a crown peach or everything, because I'm spritzing. I just need a little flavor of the bourbon. But I'll do 50-50 apple juice and bourbon. And that's what I'll spritz on every 30 minutes. Remember, we're going to cook this with the fat up. But the big key when you start to prepare the meat and start seasoning is make sure your fat side is the last side. Okay? Because it's going to be a bit messy here in a second once we're seasoning the meat. So stay tuned and we'll go through how we season this meat. All right, now we're going to basically season the meat. We're going to use mustard, yellow mustard as a binder. You can use olive oil as a binder as well too. Mustard's not going to really add a lot of flavor. It's just really to hold the seasoning on, like I said. Remember, we've patted down and gotten rid of a lot of that moisture. Now, what some people will do is they'll actually spread a lot of salt on that fat. Right? Garlic salt, Mediterranean salt. Use a good salt. That'll help. Scoring it up will help it kind of lose a lot of that moisture in there and be nice and dry. But it'll still be moist. Remember, we didn't cut into the meat. We just cut through the fat a little bit. All right? So we're going to flip this over here. We're going to use our mustard here. We're going to rub that in. Own seasoning you like to do, that's fine. Use your own seasoning, okay? If you like a little redder, that's fine. Oh, who doesn't like playing with the meat? Mustard's just a bind, just to kind of hold it in space. You could use olive oil if you want to. The fat side up last, because that's how we're going to throw it on. The less you got to mess with the meat, the better. Now, if you're going to do like strips, you probably want to do it on a nice But there's that meat, and it's ready to go on the grill now. All right, we've got the pellet smoker here. It's going right now. It's at 275 because I go for about 30 minutes. So I've dropped it down to 250 a little bit there. 225, that's about where you want to smoke it at, 225 to 250, okay? You look at the thermometer, it's right at 251, 252, okay? It's perfect. So throwing that all out there, if you haven't cleaned your grill already, I forgot to rub it over through there, you can do that. Use the flash there. Just a quick little thing there. Now, stepping back. Put it right in the middle. Voila. Okay. Now, we're We're gonna let it sit here for an hour and a half to 2 hours, not touch it at all, and come back. I'll check it in an hour and a half and check the temperature and go from there. All right, guys, so this pork belly has been smoking at about 250 to 275 for 4 hours. Just check the temperature. It's right at an even 200 degrees is what we're looking for on this. We don't want it to get really much more than that. So it's ready to pull off, and we're ready to let it rest for a little bit. So we're gonna pull it off. Isn't that, look at the flop. Look at the little wiggle, the little jiggle. It's a pork belly jiggle. We got a little jiggle in the belly. Somewhere, you know, Goonies would be happy. So what we're gonna do with this, we're gonna move it over here. We're gonna wrap it in foil and let it rest about an hour. Then we're gonna slice and dice it. While we're letting this rest, we can make our tortillas that are our cottage cheese and egg. You've probably seen them all over TikTok, but it's an amazing recipe, and that's what we're gonna use as far as the bread with these. That's gonna be the tortilla. Of course, a BLT, tomato, lettuce, and the meat, the bacon. All right, everybody. It's been resting for about an hour. That means it should be perfect and ready to rock and roll. So, just squeeze in here and unwrap. Oh my gosh, would you look at that? Does that look like ribs? You can't smell it. Oh my God, it's like slap your mama good. It looks good. All right, so we'll take this here. We're gonna slice a little bit off of here. Oh my God, look at it, just slice right through it. Oh my goodness, would you look at that? Look at that, look at that. Just so freaking tender. Oh, that's awesome. Honey through the fat and top. Awesome. So we're gonna cut up a couple pieces here real fast. It's easier to do this with a knife like this to get as thin as you want. Otherwise, it's a little harder because it's so tender. Look at that. Look at that. Look at this. Look at this. It's beautiful. It's like meat candy. Oh my gosh. Just flopping. Just flopping there. That's perfectly cooked. All right. Now we're up for the really good flavor. All here, while we've been cooking this all day, make the best BLT. Now, these are the cottage cheese and egg tortillas, and it's a really simple recipe. You've probably seen it all over TikTok. Basically, it's a cup of cottage cheese and 2 eggs with your seasoning in. Now, I added a little paprika, garlic salt, onion powder, and then I actually throw in some pickled jalapeno, so it's got a little bit of kick to it, because I like a little kick. Who doesn't like a little kick? So, you got your bread, and you got no carbs. This is, I mean, a little carb in country, but not like a regular tortilla is. I mean, tortilla is great, don't get me wrong. I like HEB warm tortillas, but this is just warm. You bake it at 350 degrees on a cookie sheet for about 30 to 35 minutes. But it's perfect. It's actually stored pretty well in the fridge for 2 to 3 days as well, too, because we cooked some a couple days ago being a flatbread, but I wanted to do a tortilla, so that's why I poured this in around. So we're going to throw a little mayonnaise on there. We're going to smear that on there. I know most people don't like cheese. We don't want cheese. I think cheese goes great on anything, right? So we're gonna throw some lettuce on there. We're gonna cut up a tomato in half here so it's easier to go on. Like that. Some of that bacon. Look at that bacon. Look at that. Look at that, look at that, look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? Isn't that just gorgeous? Oh my gosh. Oh. That's good. Damn, that's freaking good. So my neighbors gonna love this because one of the great things I do, my neighbors. I got different on my face. Thank you. All right, that's my BLT. That's the best pork belly that you can cook. It's awesome. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Of course, slice this up, cook it with bacon and eggs the next day. Bacon, egg, tortilla in the morning, which is what I'll probably do.